Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday mornings, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to get your day rolling, give you something to think about, give us all something to work on, making changes to, up-leveling ourselves, however you want to look at it. So, let's start as always with some breath. Nice deep belly breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Letting your shoulders drop in through the nose, out through the mouth, and you can just continue some nice deep belly breaths, allowing good morning, Carolyn, welcome, glad you're here, you're first today. Allowing every breath you inhale to bring in healing golden light. Good morning, Abigail, welcome, thank you for the sunrise, and every breath you exhale to release, to let go, to surrender into the divine flow of life. So we're just allowing things to unfold rather than insisting that they be a certain way. And this fits in very well with today's card, which, not surprising, right? Tends to flow that way. We have a card from the Soul Coaching deck. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you are here. What Your Soul Wants You to Know by Denise Lynn. So, and this is let me see, does it tell me? A 52 card deck. So whatever card I pull, or whatever card I like saying presents itself to me, which card picked us today, has a 1 in 52 chance of being any particular card in the deck. Good morning, Mel. Welcome. Glad you're here. And the card we pulled, I believe, is the previous card we've pulled from this deck several times. So again, when something happens once, when something happens twice, you might want to pay attention. And when something happens 3 or 4 or 5 times, hello, we've got something we need to take a look at. So, we've got something we need to take a look at. And for some of you, this concept is pretty uncomfortable because we've been trained in a certain way, and this runs diametrically opposed to that way that we've all been trained, right? Good morning, Cindy. Welcome. Glad you are here. So our card for today, you ready for this? I think someone just slipped past me. Hello, welcome. So, surrender. We have surrender. So, and there she is in the water, just staring at the stars, practicing her surrender pose. What's your surrender pose? I think mine is dropping the shoulders. Dropping the shoulders, moving them back. That to me is kind of an allowing pose. What about for you? What's your allowing surrender pose? The quote, good morning, Bobby. Welcome. Glad you are here. Thank you for yoga yesterday. It was very helpful. If any of you are looking for an online yoga class, send me a message. I'll give you her information. Good morning, Lucy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you are all here. Thank you for the sunshine. I don't think we're going to see any today in real life, but tomorrow is supposed to be sunny all day long. So, and it's supposed to be 43 degrees. So then there are no excuses for not being out for a little bit at least. So again, surrender, surrender. And our quote, or what's the phrase I'm thinking of? Hang on, it'll come. Affirmation, there we go. Was lurking in the dim recesses. All is well, I surrender to my inner guidance. All is well, I surrender to my inner guidance. And how many of us tend to not listen to our inner guidance? We're always looking outside of ourselves. Thank you, Cindy. Looking outside of ourselves for our answers, for our guru. But, you are you. You have your own answers. You have your own answers, all right? So here's surrender. Just take some nice deep breaths and as best you can, open to receiving this message. And maybe open to receiving this message even deeper than when it's been presented previously. Just see what you can do with this. Just breathe into it. Surrender. Card meaning. Let go and let God. All is well. You don't have to do it all alone. Release negative thoughts about yourself, for your life is divinely guided. Good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. Hear that part again. Your life is divinely guided. Even when it seems like a royal shit show, it is being divinely guided. And so sometimes we're slogging through the garbage and we're going, I have no idea where you're leading me, but I'm going, I'm walking, I'm taking my steps wherever we're meant to go. Sometimes it looks pretty dark. Keep walking. Keep walking. Your soul wants you to know. Letting go can heal the need to be in control, the stress of unfulfilled expectations, the anguish of demanding how things should be, and the tension of wanting others to act in particular ways. Have any of you been guilty of any of those? If all of our hands aren't up, we are lying, lying to ourselves, okay? This is really what we've been trained how to do, how to be controlling. And again, the paradox is the more controlling you are, the more out of control you will feel. The tighter you're hanging on, the easier it is to spin out of control. When you hold on loosely, as the song says, don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're going to lose control. When we allow, when we breathe into things, when we accept the unfolding, life goes a whole lot easier and we have a whole lot less stress. So let me flip a few of them at you. Yesterday, my dad hops in the truck and takes off. And I'm like, that wasn't planned. Where's he going? So contacted my sister. Sure as heck, he was headed that way. So we just stayed in touch. She let me know when he arrived. Something I can't control. Something I can't control. Today, I am having lunch with my darling daughter, who has informed me roughly 2-3 weeks ago that she needs an adventure. She quit her job. She has a bunch of money saved up. She's hopping in her vehicle and she's going, she's not sure where. As a mama, any idea how uncomfortable that is for me? However, I also did that myself at that age. So I drove cross country. In fact, after I was there for a while, I came back. I flew back on a one-way ticket, bought a car with a stick shift that I did not know how to drive, and figured by the time I got back out to Montana, I'd know how to drive it. That's the value of youth. So she's taking off on Thursday, I believe. So we're having a goodbye luncheon today. Again, surrender, let go. It is nothing I can control. Deal with it, right? So let's see. All those things that were listed, I'm going to read them again. Letting go can heal the need to be in control, the stress of unfulfilled expectations, the anguish of demanding how things should be, and the tension of wanting others to act in particular ways. Good morning, Rayford. Welcome, welcome. Also yesterday at a meeting, between it was roughly a third of the people didn't show up, didn't contact me. I have no idea why they didn't show up. Makes it difficult to move things forward. Yes, absolutely, Carolyn. Most definitely one of the main lessons in terms of dealing with cancer, doing your walk with cancer. You let go. You go with the flow. You allow. Is this easy? No. But the more we practice it, the easier it gets. A couple of years ago, if my daughter had said, hey, I'm quitting my job and I'm going on a road trip, I would have been like, what are you thinking? Despite the fact that I had done that. Now it's like, okay, let's celebrate your freedom. Let's see how it goes. Please keep in touch, etc. All right? Those things, the things we listed, all those things, these things constantly lead to disappointment and unhappiness. Although there's a time to hold on as if your life depended on it, there's also a moment to just let go. Now is the time to surrender. Remember that you aren't yielding to a force outside yourself, you're giving into your soul. So at last night's meeting, as there were some brilliant women in that room, and so we totally shifted gears. Instead of focusing on pulling this team together and how this team was going to move the intentional community project forward, we shifted gears to let's apply the brakes. We had been very focused on the accelerator. Okay, I'll read it again for you. We had been very focused on the accelerator, making things happen, hopefully saving this church, right? Now we're stepping into the place of the church needs to choose to save itself. If it is choosing not to, doesn't mean the project is going to end. We can just as easily, yes, I will. Yes, I will. We can just as easily move forward, whether the church owns the land or we own the land, however it goes. The divine unfolding. If buildings need to be knocked down, they need to be knocked down. If buildings need to be renovated, they need to be renovated. Pursuing the answers, allowing those answers to unfold for us. So not much pursuit, allowing, opening to how this unfolds. We can't make people do things they're not ready to do. And when they choose not to do certain things, they may be setting up a divine unfolding. However this goes, it goes. We keep walking our path, they keep walking their path. We'll see how it unfolds. So there's actually, when we let go, there's actually a freedom that comes. A freedom that comes. Yes, there are many signs that what is the right thing to do. And again, we don't want to get too hung up in the words right and wrong because we apply our human beliefs to that. And really, it's about being in that flow. It's about being in that flow. So the statement was, let me find it here. You aren't yielding to a force outside yourself. You're giving into your soul. Capital S. Good morning, Mandy. Welcome. Glad you're here. So again, I could continue banging my head on the wall of other people's choices, other people's opinions, etc. Is that going to serve me? Is it going to serve my intentional community project? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I'm going to step back from the wall with my little bloody forehead. And there it is. Yes, it's a fabulous phrase. And I'm going to regroup and reassess. What is the best path forward here? What path am I being guided to take? So it might be rallying my people and choosing to purchase part of the church property and then moving forward with our project. It might be expanding the project. It might get bigger. If there's 3 buildings that are going to warrant taking down, that's that much more space to build more affordable housing. This is divine unfolding. I don't want to get too stuck on a plan. Here's how it has to be. Here's what we're going to do. If that is not in the highest and best good. Good morning, Joniel. Glad you are here. So keep that phrase in mind. In the highest and best good of all. In the highest and best good of all. Good morning, Lynn. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. But hey, better late than never. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So again, that line that Cindy so loves. You aren't yielding to a force outside yourself when you let go, when you surrender, when you turn it over. You are giving into your soul. Capital S, soul. That inner guidance that knows what's the highest and best good path for you, even though it may run counter to what you've been seeing in your mind's eye. All right? And again, I go back to that idea that our mind, our logic, is not meant to run the show. It is meant to be the faithful servant of our intuition, our inner guidance. We need, and this was a model I used last night with the women who showed up at this meeting. So there were supposed to be 8 of us there. 5 of us showed up. 3 didn't show, no call, not sure what happened. And 3 women came who were interested in what we were doing, but weren't part of the team. So, but they had valuable insight for us. Again, I think the conversation that happened in that particular meeting last night, although none of it stuck to the agenda, I think there was one little chunk that stuck to the agenda. It was so much better because I let go of the agenda and listened to what I was being told. The model that I use is anything that we're creating, our life in fact, is, so at the corner of rediscovering my soul, yes, yes, yes. You're ripe for change then. You're ripe for change. And it's about being curious. The model I was using was anything in our life is kind of like a vehicle. It has acceleration and it has braking. It has an accelerator. It has a brake. I am an accelerator kind of person. I used to really get frustrated with the breaks in my life who were saying, hang on, take a minute, let's look at this, blah, blah, blah. I have learned over 6 decades to appreciate the breaks. Yeah, I don't want them riding the brakes throughout the entire project, but for these women to say to me, it's time to take a pause. It's time to take a breath. It's time to look at the process, to decide what is working, what isn't working, to breathe into acceptance of the messiness of this process. It's not clear. It's not clean. It's messy, messy, messy. That's okay. That's okay. That can be the nature of this beast. So here's another part that's really, really awesome. By releasing your hold, you're allowing the creative forces of the universe to spiral through you. So let me give you some examples of that, because when you're on this precipice, I'm sure, Lynn, it kind of feels like, oh boy, here's the abyss, right? When you're on that precipice, even though you've had many, many experiences of this in the past, it can be hard to draw on that energy. Yes, I remember all of these past times when I was at a pivotal point and about to take the leap, and I was really scared. But when I leaped, or when I took the next step, sometimes it doesn't even, most of the time, it doesn't have to be a leap. It can be baby steps. Good morning, Courtney. Glad you are here. That can eventually get you where you want to be. We vastly overrate the leaping and vastly undervalue the baby steps. Baby steps will get you really far. So I'll give you an example of that. Yes, thank you, Cindy. I love that one. So yesterday, when I was preparing for this meeting, this particular group, we haven't met since October. That's a really long time. So when I looked back at the minutes from that October meeting, I was like, wow, we really have made a lot of headway. We really have come really far in this project. When we just look ahead, we get frustrated. God, there's so much more to do. You know, I'm not making any headway here, here, and here. But when we look back and we take stock of how far we've come, which is why I think journaling is so important, because we can go back in our journal and look at, where was I 3 months ago? Holy cow, look how far this thing has come. It helps us to keep walking the path, stay in the course, all right? So by releasing your hold, you're allowing the creative forces of the universe to spiral through you. One area where I see this with people is, especially at the beginning of a year, is when people are finally deciding to get a grip on their finances. And maybe they've been doing the la 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 thing, not looking at it. And so if they're working with me, and I have specific things that I walk people through when we're doing the money piece, and they're listing all of their debts, all of what they owe to others. You know, oh my God, I've got 8 credit cards and they're all maxed and blah, blah, blah. That can be really daunting. That can be really upsetting. However, in order to fix something, you have to know what it is that you're fixing. You have to know where you stand in order to be able to move forward. And I always tell people, do not fret about that bottom number. It may be horrendous. You know, 8 credit cards all maxed out. But once you start taking these steps, the universe gets on board. The universe begins to say, okay, she's serious now. She did this. She took that step. She made a baby step here, etc., etc. And the universe begins to respond. So one example of that is a friend of mine who was a chiropractor and his wife was a nurse. And when they decided we have to address this, they both had student loan debt, blah, blah, blah. It was not a pretty picture. They created a 5-year plan for getting out of debt. They began applying their principles, doing what they said they were going to do. The universe kicked in, and 18 months later, they were out of debt. When we do what we say we're going to do, when we do the hard stuff, and we can do hard stuff, right? When we do the hard stuff, the universe begins to respond. Just keep going. All right? So let's see what our last couple of lines are here. By releasing your hold, you're allowing the creative forces of the universe to spiral through you. You're permitting the Creator to give you direction and inspiration. You've asked. Remember the ask, believe, receive? We must ask first. Okay, universe, give me some guidance on this thing. How best to deal with X? Whatever it is, if you're leaving a marriage, if you're starting a new job, if you're retooling yourself, if you're giving up an addiction, whatever it is, ask for guidance, ask for help. All right? You don't have to do it all by yourself. Any of others of you who kind of get caught in that? I know I do. Well, I got to do this all by myself. No, no. We can ask for help. And even if someone tells us no, that's okay. Keep going. Ask someone else. Colonel Sanders asked, I forget how many restaurants, if they'd like to barter for his chicken recipe. I want to say it was way over 1,000. Anyway, most of us would have quit after hearing no a couple of times, right? He just kept going. We know the result, right? Not good for cardiac, but nonetheless, you don't have to do it all by yourself. Help is all around you. Open your heart and let it in and ask. Open your heart and let it in and ask, all right? And our affirmation, all is well. I surrender to my inner guidance. I surrender to my inner guidance. So let's stop doing battle, okay? Our practical rebel team here. Let's come together and support each other as we're all breathing into allowing. Breathing into allowing. Here's what it is. If you need more support with that, well, you could coach with me, but you could also get Byron Katie's Loving What Is. She's got a process. It's called The Work, capital T, capital W. And it's about acceptance and loving what is. Being present for what is. Not demanding that it be any different than it already is. All right? I know this is a lot. I know this is hard for most of us. It is so worth your time and effort to begin to surrender. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including surrender. See you tomorrow. Bye.